All right, I've made it here to Bengaluru, the Silicon Valley of India. And I am so excited. We have an amazing guest here for you today. And my ride should be here to pick me up any second. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, Drew. Hop on.
Rahul, great to meet you.
Great to see you. How are you?
Yeah.
Bangalore is known as the Garden City. So it's one of those places which has awesome weather. It had the old town charm to it. Very laid back. At the other end, it's chaotic and cosmopolitan and very lively, almost like a New York City. Bangalore grew from a tier 1 or a tier 2 city into a mega tier 1 city in a very short span of time. So when you talk about New India, I have infrastructure which is unthinkable even 10 years ago, which would rival any place in the West. The way I'm seeing technology being leveraged to solve problems at scale has been mind-blowing. When things happen, the impact that it has is beyond imagining.
It's extraordinary. Well, should we grab some chai?
Yes, let's do that.
So there's a very awesome ecosystem of these co-working spaces around Bangalore.
It's a perfect place for us to do our interview.
Absolutely.
Do you remember what it was like on your first day 20 years ago?
Absolutely. I think the thing that stands with me, even to this day, is watching our director of HR, and he walks in with incredible excitement. And what he said, I'll never forget. He said, "I am so excited to be in this room and be the least smart person because I'm going to learn a ton." And I think I will never forget that statement that he made, the excitement that he had. And I've tried to kind of, think of that for myself all through my career.
Yeah.
The fact that I am constantly surrounded by incredibly smart people who are so amazing. And I get to learn something new from them almost every single day. That's what I cherish the most about my entire career and every day of my career since the beginning.
If only every leader was like you, Rahul. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to come on the show. I was so excited when you said yes because you're a very distinguished person. You're a CEO of multiple companies. You're a man of many talents. But I'm very conscious that every hero has an origin story. So I'd love to hear from you. Like, where did it start?
Well, my undergrad degree is in physics. And then I did my master's in computer science. I wasn't really planning on applying to trilogy, but I had one of my seniors, who was one of the toppers from our university. He dragged me out of the lab where I was sitting and he's like, I need you to go and take this test because I think you're going to find this really exciting. And there's some really interesting problems to solve. And I think he recognized that pattern in my behavior better than I did.
Yeah.
So he dragged me down, got me to take the test, and I was fascinated by the problems that they asked us to solve over there. And it was fun. When I was making choices, I had 3 or 4 options before I had to decide where I would finally decide to work. I remember going down to Bombay where my father was working, and I had this conversation with him and he said, "Don't worry about the salary. Don't worry about the pay. In fact, work for free if you can. Go to a place where you'll get to work with some incredibly smart people and learn a ton." And I think I took that to heart. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try this out. Now, the fact that, the pay was awesome was a bonus, but that wasn't the criteria that I chose. And then, in the group for over 20 years now.
Wow.
And it's been quite a ride.
Smart advice that you received there.
Absolutely. Sage advice that I'd pass on to anyone else who asks me the same question.
Do you think that your experience, your trajectory is something that anyone can do? Or are there challenges and blockers that would face the average person, particularly here in India?
I don't consider myself as incredibly smart or rather. If I can make it and be successful, I think anyone can. It just requires a certain amount of discipline and having an open mind to learn. And I think if you have those two, the opportunities in India are incredible right now. The entrepreneurship environment that exists today rivals Silicon Valley.
What do you think are the most practical pieces of advice that either you've received or that you've given people that are just getting started out?
So there are three. The first one is time management. If you don't manage your own time, someone else will. Like I hear a lot of people complain about managers micromanaging their work and not having the right environment. The more I think about it, I feel like a reason why managers do that is because if you have committed to something and not delivered, or if you don't know how to manage your time, then your managers feel compelled to tell you what to do. And that, in effect, is micromanagement. I had never known a manager to micromanage anyone when they just run on their own. They know the problem, they know how to solve it. They can get stuff done as committed. So I think managing your own time is incredibly empowering and will change the way people interact with you. The second piece of advice, again, something that a mentor of mine told me pretty much in, I think, the first month. He asked me a question and he said, Rahul, I hope you have your go-to health fund.
A go-to-hell fund.
It's called the go-to health fund. And I was baffled. And he said, make sure that you have at least 1 year of your liabilities or your lifestyle expenses covered, so that you never feel compelled to do something because you have to save your job. Okay? And you can basically say, go to hell to your employer. I mean, that is
I get it now.
In hindsight, I think that's been such an incredible piece of advice because I feel that it has empowered me. That cushion that I've had has empowered me to do my work in a way where I've never been a yes person to anyone. When you do your work thinking that you have to save your job, I think it's a downward spiral. And I think this positive attitude where you're doing the job because you're truly into solving the problem or delivering productive outcomes and trying to deliver value. When you have that attitude, it changes everything. I've never had to use that fund, thankfully.
But did you ever tell someone to go to hell?
No, I didn't. I never had to. And that's the beauty of it.
It's interesting because the principle of a go-to-hell fund sounds like it would be anti the employer. But in actual fact, what you've just described and that mindset shift, I have full confidence would actually make you a better employee.
100%. And it makes you more passionate about what you're doing because you don't have this other thing that bothers you all the time, which is I need this job for my sustenance. Right? Your job becomes something that you're important more deeply. And you become more passionate about it.
I really, really love that. What was your third piece of advice?
The third piece of advice that I give everyone is surround yourself with incredibly smart people. Again, this is advice that my dad gave me, and I think has served me incredibly well. Like I said, I'm a very, very average student, but I have been very lucky to be surrounded by very, very smart people who have taught me tons. Again, all these life lessons have come from others who mentored me, gave me great guidance, and I hope I can do that for others as well. But yeah, just surround yourself with really smart people and be open to learning.
Thank you so much. Well, cheers, Rahul.
Cheers.
What role has remote work played in your career?
Oh, it's been one of the most liberating aspects. And when we decided to go remote and global, some of the early experiences were eye-opening. Like back in 2005, I think one of the first locations I started hiring from was Ukraine. The average computer science graduate over there had 2 PhDs. Average was 2 PhDs. Like they had done postdoctoral research in computer science. Like the talent pool that I saw there was absolutely mind-blowing. And that was literally the first country we started working. And Eastern Europe in general was a revelation, right? The kind of talent you had over there. And then I started realizing that the perspectives that they brought into solving problems were so different and so refreshing. Like when you're classically trained in doing something in a particular geography in a certain way, and you don't see the problem from different angles. Okay, I think people who don't work remotely just don't experience it and just don't realize how valuable that is. And I think when it comes to growing an organization, building something that you want to see grow and flourish, having more of those perspectives is incredibly valuable. When we went remote, I think most people outside told us that we were going to burn this company down to the ground. And they just didn't understand why we were doing it, why we would shut down our offices in Austin, Texas, in Bangalore, and Hangzhou, China. In India, even when I had to hire college grads, I really couldn't, because I would literally have to convince parents. I'd get on calls, talking to not just the kids, but also their parents and their families, trying to convince them that we were not one of these fly-by-night operations that would disappear because we were working remote. The concept of remote was just so alien that people wouldn't believe that this was actually a large, multi-billion-dollar enterprise that is global. They just wouldn't believe that it could be remote. And I think one of the few positive things that's come out of the pandemic is the greater acceptance to the idea of working remote and yet being productive. I think companies have learned that they can get a much bigger and better talent pool when they think global.
If someone's watching this and thinking, I want to be a disciple of the school of Rahul, what should they do tomorrow?
Be the one person who is the problem solver for someone else. That's my one takeaway. Like, you do that, everything else falls into place.
And that was perfect timing for the power to go out. And honestly, we couldn't have timed that better. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.